I can still see the look on your face when the last of the squash hit your Uncle Oat's plate. So began the story of the squash. A sacred story, at least in our household, for it was told every year for over 4 decades, even on those times when I was not home, and I would call my mother to wish her a happy Thanksgiving. I would have to hear that story all over again. Did I tell you I love butternut squash? And growing up, we got it one time a year, Thanksgiving. On that particular Thanksgiving, I guess I was probably 14 or 15, as the extended family had gathered around the large Thanksgiving table, and grace had been said, and food had begun to be passed. Suddenly it was noticed that something was missing, and so I got up and went into the kitchen to retrieve it. When I came back, the squash had passed by my plate and was making the second go-round of the table. It got almost to me the second time when my Uncle Oat looked into the bowl and said, there's just a little left. And with that, he scraped the last remaining squash onto his plate, adding to his already sumptuous heap of butternut squash. I can still see the look on your face when the last of that squash hit your Uncle Oat's plate. Stories are important, and times when we gather together as family are important to tell stories. And if your house is anything like mine, there were those Thanksgiving stories, those Christmas stories, those stories of birthdays and other occasions that must be told if the celebration was to be complete. Stories are important, for they give our lives meaning. They shape us. They help bond us as family. This Thanksgiving is a weird Thanksgiving. There are no two ways about it. It is unlike any Thanksgiving we have ever celebrated. It is hard for many of us, not being with family and friends as we wished we could be. But we must not forget to tell the stories. To share those stories that have always been important to tell on this day. But also, on this particular Thanksgiving, to write a new story. A story of 2020. It has been all too easy to focus on what is wrong with this year, to dwell in the midst of the chaos and the losses and the frustration and the confusion. But I challenge you to look back over the year and to see where God has brought blessings into your life. Grace is a strange thing because it rarely comes looking like we expect it. But where have been those chapters of this year where you have been unexpectedly blessed, where you may have learned something new about yourself or the world around you? You may have acquired a new skill. Something very precious may have happened to you this year. Where are the things that you can celebrate, even in the midst of the bleakness and the wilderness? And after all, isn't that why we gather on Thanksgiving? To remember that first Thanksgiving, when those unexpected blessings came in the form of our brothers and sisters of the darker skin, who came to save and to bless. Who are those people in our lives this year? And what are those occasions? Tell those stories and file them away, that they may be part of your family's sacred Thanksgiving stories. And may we look back at this year, not in horror, but in positive retrospect, as a gift, a strange gift, but a gift nonetheless, for which we pause to give thanks. A blessed Thanksgiving to you and your family. Now thank we all the God with hearts and hands and voices, who wondrous things has done, in whom the world rejoices, who from our mother's arms has blessed us on our way with countless gifts of love, and still is ours today. Oh, may this bounteous God through all our life be near us, with ever joyful hearts and blessed peace to cheer us, and keep us in all grace, and guide us when perplexed, and free us from all ills in this world and the next.